Because you start that shit, I'm gonna get real raw with you.
But it's they.
I'm gonna get real raw with you. Check that shit.
I get so sick of black people with this zodiac shit.
Can you at least acknowledge that before you make another argument? You've already fucked yourself up enough. I'm trying to help you dig your way out. But if you really want me to, I'll finish it on my own.
No, ma'am. You are danger. And you advise other women?
I do absolutely yes.
Ma'am, you really should have said that.
Welcome back to Masculine Academy channel, where we are helping men become their best version. Today we have part 2 of Kevin Samuels' most savage moments. Let's dive in. First, the defensive single mother.
Because you said men put you through a lot. The men that's out here in the world, you don't know them.
But when I say that, it's because I'm going off by experience, so I know what
Exactly. Your experience. Your experience. That's a man you dealt with. I'm talking about the men in front of you. You have no experience with them. So you want to be picky with these men because the men you've experienced put you through a lot. That's your problem.
But they're usually all the same.
So maybe the ones you date are.
Maybe. It's not many options. That's another thing.
Oh, there are plenty of options. 51% of black men are single and childless. 64% of them middle class. See what they're not.
But a lot of them are ugly.
Oh, no. First off, check that. Because you start that shit, I'm gonna get real raw with you.
But
I'm gonna get real raw with you. Check that shit. Because I have not made any presumptions about looks or anything with you, so I'm not gonna let you insult men.
You can't. I look a mess now, but I don't think I have to settle with a man that I don't find
Okay,
handsome.
let's do it. What would you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10? Just your face. You cannot use that.
A 10.
Oh, poor baby. Now let's try this again.
So I'm
You
not
are not the most beautiful woman in the world. Cosmopolitan ain't trying to get you to be on the cover. People ain't deemed you one of the most beautiful women in the world. So let's go
So
ahead.
what would you rate me?
I asked you. Since you want to bring looks about men into it, I'm asking you. What would you rate yourself? And the first thing out of your mouth was a lie. A 10. You ain't nobody's 10.
What you said?
First thing you came out of your mouth, you said you're a 10, and you're not a 10.
My face is not a 10. I don't have no makeup on, and my hair is not done, and this is all real hair.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
I think I'm definitely a 10.
Cool. I bet you do. So when was the last time you did any runway modeling or print modeling?
I've never been involved in that.
Why not? 10s, that's what 10s do.
Not all 10s.
Oh, yeah. Not all 10s, but you know what? You live in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. See, when you're a 10, people discover you at the bank, at the bodega, at the gym.
That happened when I was younger. My father didn't
Okay, and we're going to keep on moving. You're not a 10. You're living in, and a lot of you ladies just say this shit because
I'm not a 10.
You're not. You're not a 10.
What would you rate me as? My face.
I'm not gonna. No, you're not a 10 because you're rating yourself up there with Rihanna and Halle Berry when she was young. That's where you're rating yourself. Up there with Diane Carroll. That's where you're rating yourself.
What you mean, Halle Berry?
Yeah, with Halle Berry in the 90s. Charlize Theron, Diane Carroll. You're ranking yourself up there with the Rihannas of the world. That's where you're ranking yourself.
You seen Rihanna without no makeup, right?
I see you. You cannot have it all. Men aren't supposed to be the attractive ones. You are.
Mm-hmm.
Men are supposed to be the providers, protectors, prophet, priests. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be the cute one of the group. You are. You're supposed to be the feminine, beautiful, inspirational one, the cooperative one, the submissive. That's what you're supposed to be. But yet, many of you ladies want men to be women, and it don't work. And I'm talking to a woman who's already got a child from another man. And you're talking about being picky.
But you
Are
know,
you act
that goes by that's natural for me. I've
well,
tried to settle for a man that wasn't
well,
physically attractive.
settle. Did you go to college?
Yeah, I have my master's degree.
Okay.
I'm a PhD.
Let me explain something to you. You don't need to settle for a man who's an average man or better. I don't know why you have to keep somebody settled. Somebody will settle for you.
Number 2. A rude bus driver. So a self-confessed, big mouth and sassy bus driver shares her struggles with finding the right person as a single mother.
What's the only common denominator in all of our relationships?
I don't know. I don't. I don't know.
You,
It's the
you know
patience
what
for
a
me. I
common
don't
you
know.
know what a common denominator is?
Yeah, it's the bottom line. Yes, I know.
No, that's not what a common denominator is.
What
The
is it?
same thing.
What is it?
The only common denominator in all of our relationships is us.
Correct. But men these days, it's difficult because they want their cake and eat it too.
It's always the man, huh?
It could be the woman too,
No,
but
we're talking
some
about you. So if I talk to all your exes and ask them how did they experience you, what do you think they'd say?
they're gonna give good stuff out. They're gonna say I have a little attitude and my mouth is slick, but that's about it.
That's about it?
Yeah. They gonna say good stuff. I mean, as far as the bad stuff, but they gonna say I'm independent. I
Who
don't
gives a
have
shit about no disrespect, man. Who gives a shit that you're a functioning adult? Okay. Nobody
okay.
cares that you've been holding it down. That means you're taking care of yourself. But you
Okay.
say they're gonna say you got an attitude and a slick mouth, and that's it?
That I'm
That's it,
loving
huh?
and caring. That
That
I'm
but
loving
I
and caring.
so much so that you got an attitude and a slick mouth. What makes women like you think that that's acceptable?
I speak my mind. If nothing don't feel right, then I'm gonna
That's why
say
you're
it.
alone. That's why you're alone. That's why you're alone.
It's hard. I don't want to be
No, no, no,
alone, but
no. It's not hard. It's not hard. Acting right shouldn't be this hard.
got you. I
What do
feel
you do
like
for
I could.
what do you do for a living?
I'm a bus operator. I work for the city, drive buses.
Uh-huh. So you just do what the fuck you want to in the bus. You just speed. You do whatever you want. Don't obey the traffic laws.
I do,
You okay? So you can act like right when the white man's money's on the line.
unfortunately.
See how that works,
No,
gentlemen? See how that work when her holding it down is jeopardized, that white paycheck is on the line, then all of a sudden these sassy, slick mouth women, they can show act right. Why is it so hard for you to behave?
because I'm gonna express myself. Like if I feel like somebody trying to take control of, not even control, like take advantage of me. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm big hearted. So if I feel like somebody
I
gonna
get
take,
so sick of black people with this zodiac shit. I'm a Capricorn. It's hard. All right. So what? Capricorn, it's hard. Well, then what are your alternatives? Buy a dog or a cat and die alone.
we
I mean, it's hard, right? So, hey, you're in LA. You and the cat can eat the same food. We're talking about just simple common decency and respect. And I said, how would your exes tell me they experience you? And you said it. They would probably tell you, I have a bit of an attitude, which is a whole lot, and a slick mouth. Well, see, that's the problem. You ladies are able to talk crazy to men with no consequences. So now what men are doing is just avoiding you. You can't even give it away. And men don't want to tolerate this. We haven't even got to the important stuff because you're just out of control. You said you believe in God,
I believe in Jesus Christ. Yeah, the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
but you're not a Christian?
Mm-mm.
Why?
Because I'm not living every day as I'm not doing it. I'm not living every day. I'm not.
So again, this is why I challenge women when they talk about God. Jesus is like cosmic Santa Claus to be able to give them what they want when they want to. You're undisciplined, man. There's no discipline you're under. No religious discipline, This is why y'all are less quality women than your grandmothers. Your grandmothers submitted themselves to something greater. Y'all submit yourselves to your bag.
Yeah.
Bus driving bags. That's how low the standard is. I mean, bus driving, whatever job. I mean,
Whatever job, yeah.
the
'Cause some
average
women
black
got
woman makes
businesses.
20. The average black woman in this country makes $28,000 a year, but they'd rather have $28,000 and no husband. That's a bag. So in other words, you're just talking and dreaming.
Brainstorming, yeah.
No, talking and dreaming. See, I like calling shit
Manifesting.
what it is.
Manifesting, that's correct.
Talking and dreaming.
Manifesting, that's correct.
Talking and dreaming. You have no money to start a business, and being an animal spa is going to give you $2.7 million to retire on.
What that have to do with a man?
She don't even get it.
I get it.
You ain't gonna hit a man because your attitude's too bad. So if you can't behave and act right, ain't nobody gonna want to deal with this. So you're gonna have to take care of yourself till you die. That's what it got to do with it. Because you got a slick mouth and you kind of got an attitude. That means ain't nobody gonna couple with you. That means you got to take care of you until you die. And the job you're working right now is a job. It ain't nothing to retire on. No children, no husband means what happens when you can't work or you get sick. You gonna be on the street.
I understand. Trust, I feel you on that.
So all this, so this is why I said, I'm talking, I'm manifesting. That means the Jesus the God I do not follow and the life I don't live, he's supposed to manifest and give me stuff. Now, I'm gonna just say this, man. Far too many of our women are just walking around like big children. Y'all are not serious people. At 30 some odd, you know your grandmother? Yep. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. A shit talking bus driver.
3. Emotions versus logic. The woman prioritizes feelings over facts. That's going to be a funny discussion where Kevin Samuel totally destroys the subjective emotional intuitions.
Not only am I a social worker, I am a female, and I do work with a lot of single women that I have
a
seen.
lot of single women who choose to marry before they carry, do things out of order, and you don't get the father's story, right?
I'm speaking about dating, Mr. Samuels.
No, ma'am, I'm speaking about you're trying to set the table in a bullshit way. Do these women in social work come in here and they're married women who have children as a result of marriage and their husbands are still around?
Some, yes, sir.
Some, what percentage? 1 in 4 black women were married. Careful.
Married about 6%.
So 94% of these women aren't.
Yes, sir.
So when you say some, I don't understand why y'all do that. Some, if your kid came home and said, Mom, here's my grade, and he gave you an F minus, you said, boy, you didn't get nothing. What did you do? You got an F minus? I got some of them right. You got 6 right, but you got 94 wrong. You'd be like, oh, okay, so you got all right. No, ma'am. You are danger. And you advise other women?
I do. Absolutely, yes. I do. Absolutely, yes.
Ma'am, you really should have said that.
Why? It's the truth. I wouldn't lie to you. It's the truth.
Because you shouldn't be advising anybody. This woman actually says men pick women based upon money. Then if that's the case, why do women who have PhDs and MBAs and everything else, why aren't they married? Especially in our community. Because we got the most educated women, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why do we have the lowest marital rate?
Sometimes we get married and we just...
1 in 4 black women will marry anybody. Not just black men. 1 in 4 black women will marry in their lifetime. So you can't make it a black man issue. If men
It's
pick,
definitely not that.
excuse me, you're not going to fucking put this on black men. I will destroy you if you try that shit. I said one, okay, as long as you don't try that, we can have the conversation, but 1 in 4 black women will marry in their lifetime. If we have the most educated, meaning making money and education, then why are they the least married? If men choose women based upon status.
Some women are very busy. They have busy schedules. Some educated women have very busy schedules. So they really don't have time to date.
Some. Talk to me
Some,
about,
some.
excuse me, ma'am. I don't want to talk about, see what you do is when you start losing the argument, you start to deflect to the minority. Talk to me about the majority. 50% of the women in question who are educated, but yet 1 in 4 were married. Don't talk to me about some. Talk to me about the majority. Why are 1 in 4 marrying? And actually, the marital rate drops as black women go up in education and up in income, which is an up in status. Why does marriage drop? Don't tell me about the ones that are some that are too busy. If men pick
Well,
women
the
based on
majority, the ma-
if men pick women based on status, why are these higher status women more unmarried?
I believe that they get to the point where it's like I've been single, I've been alone by myself,
Jesus Christ.
or while they're getting their education, they're dating, but it's just not a connection. So
Shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Ma'am, you just contradicted your own point and you won't stop. You do realize this is why so many young black men are in jail, because they go off on their feelings based upon their facts.
mm,
But then you sit around and turn around in the same group of women talking about black men can't produce. You don't make enough money to provide. But you, ma'am, are the kind of woman that raises a boy to go off of his feelings, his strong gut. How do you think that's going to set your son up to compete with men of other races?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
How old is your son?
12.
When the fuck do you think you should start thinking about it? I'm not being funny, man. I'm trying to talk to you seriously. You're raising a 12-year-old black boy, and you're telling everybody in here that I'll raise him to believe in his gut over things that he can see is true. And you want him to go out into that dangerous world. What's going to protect him if his senses and his logic doesn't? What's supposed to protect him?
Morals, values.
Feelings are not morals. You keep calling things morals. These are feelings. You're not supposed to emotionally respond. You're supposed to intellectually react. And you guys wonder why we have so many emotional young black men, because this is their mother. And they make
Who
it sound like a virtue. Morals. This isn't morals. It's illogical, feelings-based thinking.
what's wrong with having emotions? What's wrong with acting
When
off?
it is opposite to observable, verifiable truth, facts. This is where that Maury Povich shit, where boys are going, and Maury recognizes that you're not the father, and these mothers tell these boys that you're gonna stay in that child's life. You've been there for the first 2 years, and we're gonna raise it. This is the pathology. Thank you, man. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more similar content. Number 4. A former stripper who wants to be a housewife. Now she's 36. She wants to find marriage. This is going to be interesting.
Keep your ass at home. Don't take his money. Ask all the questions you need to do. Because if you go out with us, we're expected to smash.
Okay, look it. I'm gonna give you an example. I have dated and dealt with people that I didn't actually were attracted to them when I first met them, but as I got to know them, I did become attracted to them. So that can happen too. You know,
This
I
is
just
what women do. They play games with the possibility of sex. The guys you went out with, were you paying all the bills? Were you paying for everything? 100%? No.
no.
Then it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I mean, you sitting there
Not
saying,
saying
well,
that not saying that I expect for them to pay all the time because I'm a nice girl. I'm from California. You know, we're
it has nothing to
not
do with being
as
there. I mean, it's not, no. Look, did you grow up with your father?
my father died when I was 11 years old.
Well, you should have heard this somewhere in your life. Don't accept nothing from a man that you don't expect to do something for.
Yeah.
So what you're
But you know
talking
what?
about, what
Okay, look
no,
at
what you're talking about, no,
okay.
see, this is why so many women in your age range are going to be destined to be alone because you're still trying to pretty it up. What you did was you ran game, you hustled, and you deceived dudes. And then you wonder why these guys get out here and become mean and fuck boys. Because they run into women like you playing games.
Okay, so
What
if from here on out,
what's wrong with being upfront and saying, I'm not sexually attracted to you, I'm not going to go on a date with you? What's wrong with just doing that?
nothing, because sometimes, you know, I mean, I'll just say no, thank you, I'm not interested. I say that. And some guys,
Now,
they might get mad and
now,
probably, you know,
now,
now I
but you
do.
didn't do it
Now
then.
I didn't know how. I didn't have the knowledge to do that.
Okay, but you did know they wanted to have sex.
Yes. Who doesn't? I mean, it's kind of like,
But you weren't, that's the point.
yeah, I didn't want to.
Well, see,
No.
that's the point. See, I want you guys to understand. Women know we want to have sex. They want to have sex. But see, what they do is you sit around and saying, well, he accepted the date. He didn't have to do it. If you had a son, would you want somebody to treat your son that way?
No, but I will
Then
want my
that's it.
son.
There's no but. See, anything you say before but is bullshit. Are you a trophy wife?
I can be.
I didn't ask, can you? Are you a trophy wife?
Definitely, I am.
What would you rank yourself? Just your face, fresh face out of the shower.
Well, I'm fresh right now, so I'll say like an 8.
An 8. So you put yourself up there with Beyonce.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little bit younger than Beyonce, and I still look like I'm in my 20s.
So again, you're Monique. You think that a man, just because you're natural and you're cute, what else could he want? All right,
And
let me
I
ask
have a bachelor.
hey.
Okay.
So, do you plan on homeschooling your children?
No. If I don't
Private
plan on
school,
homeschooling.
or public school?
Probably private.
Okay. So, do you plan on having a housekeeper,
Definitely.
a maid?
I have one now.
You're gonna have someone else to help prepare meals too?
No, I cook really well.
Okay. So, in other words, all you're going to do is incubate a child.
No. You make that sound so funny.
Well, you weren't famous before, you are now.
You said she belongs to the streets. Look it,
What kind of professions would a man need to have to make $400,000 or more legally? At 36 years old and a college graduate, you should be able to focus and answer that question.
a probably a barber that works on set. It's just different. It just depends on what level you on of your profession. Period. You could be a barber and you could a barber off Crenshaw.
So I
or
want you guys
could
to
be a barber
understand. I want you to understand,
and
ma'am.
work for the
Ma'am,
union at
do not
ABC.
overtalk me. Fuck is wrong with you? I've asked you that so many times.
I want you. Okay, I'm answering the question and you get it.
But you cannot overtalk me.
Okay, I'm listening now.
Ma'am, you're talking about lawyers, teachers, cannabis, and a barber. Only one of those has the potential of really doing that consistently. And that's only some sort of attorneys. And my point is, ma'am, if you can't identify the professions that a man must have, how are you going to identify which men you need to put yourself in front of? Since you said you're putting yourself out there more. You can't even tell us what professions.
I just did.
No, you really didn't. Because in the comment section, you don't see all these hearts going up down the side. I'm in the comment section when this video is over, and you hear people talking about a teacher or a barber making $400,000. They're not going to be very please, ma'am, stop. I'm trying to help you. Stop.
Okay.
Number 5, the angry feminist. She basically believes that women can live without men. Check this out.
Your own manual labor at your house, man, but I'm asking you, have you ever had to work with heavy machinery?
To a lesser degree, but if I needed to,
Such as, give me an example.
I worked a job back home in a bakery where I was dealing with heavy machinery in the bakery.
What kind of machinery, ma'am?
I mean, anything that had to do with industrial baking.
Okay, so no offense, but in a kitchen.
Pardon me?
No offense, but it's in a kitchen, industrial baking.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, what I'm talking about, man, is I'm talking about
You're talking about construction.
I'm talking about power plants, power grids. I'm talking about refineries, oil wells, oil derricks. I'm talking about heavy machinery, backhoes.
Of course.
Things that hold on, listen. I'm talking about the things that negate physical advantage that men have.
Right.
And you cannot tell me you can train a population of women to get them up to speed to do the job at the level men are doing it before women start to die off. If you understand how this country is run, how the power grid is laid out, if you understand how the logistics work, when Corona came around, one of the biggest concerns were that the medication flow was going to stop because we have a one-drop logistics chain. We don't have much for disaster recovery. Why do you think you didn't see toilet paper and water? Because all of the logistics broke down. People went and bought all of the stuff. There was no more stuff. I get that women have the mental ability to do it, but how long do you survive without clean water?
Can we take a step back in your argument? Because what you're saying is that physically women don't have the capability to maintain and sustain the development that's been built by men, correct?
Yes.
Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, you don't.
Okay, so that's where I disagree with you. And I disagree with it because I will say there's a caveat to this. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. There's 2 sisters, 2 brothers.
Where are you going to disagree on the fact about the physical strength?
That it is very possible. So my disagreement is that it is very possible for women to sustain physically an environment that men have built without men.
No, ma'am. You said you disagree with the notion of the strength difference between men and women.
Yes,
listen. No. You can overtalk me. I don't do that. Okay. The average hand strength of a man to a woman is like a 17 or 70. I forget them. It's magnitudes larger for a man versus a woman. In the fire department, to be able to be a fireman, you have to be able to do a 200-pound dead man's carry. Did you watch the beginning of this show?
I did.
Women fail the test, the physical readiness test. No, you can't overtalk me. Women fail the physical readiness test 65% of the time. You know what exercise they failed? You want to know what exercise they failed? Hanging from a pole, hanging from a chin-up bar, pulling your knees to your chin. That's what the women failed. It wasn't lifting heavy weights. It was moving their own French toast body weight. Go, after the show is over, and go to Amazon Prime. Go look for a series called The Island by Bear Grylls.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
All right. In season 2, if you watch it, you saw men and women. The producers came out and said they manipulated the environment because women were dropping like flies. Women, for the audience, these people start off on the islands. They have a few matches, knife, a little bit of string, some fish hooks, some things like that, and 2 large canisters to actually purify water. 2 for everybody. What did the women do? Women actually found a pig. Not a pig. When they finally decided, they found a pig. They found a pig, but they named the pig. They named the pig and didn't want to kill the pig. But when they finally decided that they needed to kill the pig and eat something, they finally decided they killed it. And guess what? Where did the women, after they gorged themselves, what they decide to do with the meat? They decided to put the meat into one of the water canisters to store it, to keep it from bugs and pests and everything else. And guess what happened? Bacteria, everything set in. They went and opened the water canister and it was putrid. What did these women do? They took the putrid canister and put it in the river and left. They cut their water supply by half and damn near died of dehydration. Yep. They had to go back 4 days later after the rescue team came in and said, "Bam, you can't survive. You can't make enough fresh water on this island. There's not enough. You can't capture enough. You need to go take that canister, clean it out, and use it to boil and purify water." If they hadn't been told that knowledge, they'd all be dead. That is irrefutable.
So I have enough respect for you to say this. Don't you think, though, that is fictionalized by reality TV in order to provide entertainment?
I think what's fictionalized, what I think is fictionalized is you women actually thinking that there's not much difference between us. Because you saw those women.
Oh, no.
Ma'am, you asked me, you saw those women. You saw those women at the end of 6 weeks. At the end of 6 weeks, men had built a functional shelter. They had killed large prey. They had fished. They had actually repaired the net to capture lots of fish. Men were living well. Matter of fact, the only guys that had been taken off that island were due to actual falls and injuries. In week 5, women were still trying to lead by French toast committee. We know how to run a world we built. There are not enough women over here doing these jobs to sustain the population of women over here. There are enough men over here doing these jobs today to sustain the population of men today because it's happening. That is the fundamental math you cannot get around. There are not enough women today doing the jobs to sustain a population of women who are not. You need us to live.
Is there then not an argument to be made that if there are these men that
can you at least acknowledge that before you make another argument?
Yeah, what I want to add.
Can you acknowledge it before you add? Can you acknowledge before you add? Because I don't like women moving the goalposts.
No. I hear what you're saying. Of course.
But you have not acknowledged it.
How would you? I'm not.
Would you agree or disagree? Okay. Would you agree that there are men running the infrastructure environment and men over here not running? But we have enough men running the infrastructure environment to where these men don't have to. Would you agree? That's the current setup.
Saying that there are men that are dependent on the other men that are running the infrastructure?
Yeah, the current setup, yes.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Would you also agree that in the current setup, there are not enough women running the same set infrastructure to provide for the same population of women using the infrastructure?
Yeah, of course. I'm not disagreeing with that.
All right, ma'am. Well, if that's the case, what you're saying is the women who are in the minority over here can keep it running at a level to where what you're basically saying is you can't. I don't know if you understand the math of this, but I'm not trying to be funny, but you're basically trying to say a minority of women that already exists can keep an infrastructure running that it requires the majority of men to do. You're basically saying that, let's just give a number to it. Let's say for the infrastructures, women are running the infrastructure at a 20% rate. I'll give you 20%. That means 80% still by men. That makes a total of 100%. Running it for 51% of females and 49% of males. So 80% of the infrastructure is being run for 49% of the males. 20% of women are running infrastructure for 51% of the males. If we look at it, it's just male to female.
Yep.
But if you take that away, you're getting 100% production from the grid. 20% of women cannot produce for 51% of women when it takes 80% of men to produce for 49% of men. It's mathematically impossible.
And in bonus, a woman who believes that men are intimidated by her. She prioritized a career. Now she wants a family.
What percentage of the overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for? This is not negotiable. It has to be done.
No, I appreciate. I would say 10%, honestly.
Okay, 10%. How much would a man need to make in LA to afford 2 children, a wife, and himself to live an upper class life?
I would definitely say 500,000 or more.
Give me don't give me a more. Just give me a number.
650,000.
All right. Do you care if he's black or not?
No, I'm open.
Okay. You're 36?
Yes.
You are effectively a luxury room in another bill. No shade, because homeschool, but you want a nanny, you want a housekeeper. So your job description is going to be, I have sex with my husband and I produce his children. And then after the second child is produced, then what? What is your job after the second child is produced? Someone is in the house taking care of it. Somebody's in the house raising it. What do you do? Because you don't want to pay more than 10%.
Can I share some?
Yeah, but hello? Go ahead.
So when I've tried dating guys that were like the last gentleman that I was dating, he was a truck driver. And what was coming up was he was expressing that just the way I dress and put myself together, he was intimidated by the way I put myself together. And although I was okay with meeting him where he was at, it became a problem. And so through that journey and kind of looking back at it, I felt like I had to level up my standards because I felt like I kept coming against a wall when I am trying to date somebody for just truly getting to know them.
Well, the problem isn't the truck driver. The problem is why, and when you were 22 years old, weren't you looking to be married?
I was looking to get married.
Okay. You've been engaged?
Yes, I have.
Who called off the engagement?
I did.
Why?
It was emotionally abusive.
Your mother and father were middle class?
Yes.
Why in the hell are you looking for a rich man?
Because the guys, like I said, that I was meeting.
No, ma'am. You're middle class. Your degree is in what?
It was in sociology.
Sociology, one of those useless degrees.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from you is a woman who has I have this look, this air, and that's cool. But you're not an elite. You're middle class. You're from a middle class family, and you're out of your league. And I'm trying to be as political as I can, but oftentimes our women, they get these degrees and they start to think you're up here. And your mom was an RN and your dad was an X-ray tech. That means you get somewhere between RN and X-ray tech. You got a degree in sociology. You're not making what you made before. You're in finance now. I don't know what that means. Primerica? What is that?
Yeah, network marketing. Yeah.
Primerica. I know. And how do I know these things, people? Because I don't just talk.
I understand.
Your standard is extremely high. And I'm going to say this in the nicest way I can, but you almost come across as like you're like imposter syndrome. Stop defining your success by your bank account and these bullshit ass titles. That's why so many black women are dying alone. That shit was pushed to our community. It was pushed to every community, but our women bought into it more than anything else. living single, girlfriends, and now you got a bunch of 45-year-old women telling you, go now, focus on yourself, don't worry about such and so forth. 45 to 70, 45 to 60. I'm like, they at least had some money from Hollywood. You're an accountant. So I'm gonna ask you to move like you don't have this potential to make this money, because it's not really a potential. How would you move if you were a school teacher?
How would I move if I was a school teacher?
How would you move throughout the world if you were a school teacher? If you were a third grade teacher, how would you move in the world? How would you operate? Would you have this lust? Would you this lust for the finer things and don't deny yourself?
No, I feel like I would be content with.
Well, then become a third grade goddamn school teacher and get content, because that's closer to your reality.